Hi! In this video I'm going to talk about how to use examples as evidence for your claims. You've certainly used them before when writing your 5-paragraph essays in junior and senior high school, but I want you to think a little more deeply about what you were doing then and why it was inadequate in the adult world of argument. In your 5-paragraph essay, you wrote an introduction that included your thesis, followed by 3 paragraphs. Each of them featured an example which you explained at length. Then you finished the essay off with a conclusion. The rhetorical problem with the format is this. 3 examples is very thin evidence for a claim, for the simple reason that a single counterexample defeats them. You might claim, for instance, that you know 3 people who pass college by and are doing quite well for themselves, thank you very much. I might reply that I know 1 or 2 people who also passed college by and are now, at the age of 30, still working minimum wage jobs. The force of using examples is precarious. It depends on your ability to generalize or universalize a claim based on a limited number of instances or stories or descriptions. There are a few strategies for making the leap from Roger-level examples to a universal claim. The first would be to provide a plethora of examples. Overwhelm your reader with instances of what you claim. By comparison, the naysay counterexamples will appear laughable. Martin Luther King, in Letter from Birmingham Jail, provides such a plethora when explaining why black Americans shouldn't be asked to wait for their civil and social rights, with a hailstorm of examples of injustice blacks experience every day in the early 1960s. A naysayer would be embarrassed to offer counterexamples. In his History of World War II, Norman Davies characterizes the problems confronting the German High Command when planning the invasion of Russia, code word Barbarossa. Assembling the strike force for Barbarossa caused some headaches. Roughly 10% of the best German divisions were diverted for 6 weeks to the Balkan campaign, and about 40% had to be supplied with captured French materiel. The Romanian and Hungarian contingents were of untried quality, and the Italian contingent, which Mussolini insisted on sending, had not even been requested. German transport vehicles had no tracks. Horse-drawn vehicles were in the majority. 3 million men were expected to live off local food supplies, and most of the quartermasters were making no provision for winter living. 8 examples of the headaches German military planners experienced in preparing for the invasion of Russia. That's a plethora. Notice that the examples are largely unexplained. You will ruin the effect of the cascade of examples if you stop to explain them. If it's appropriate, you can render your plethora in a series, as Stanley Fish does below in his book, How to Write a Sentence, cataloging the numerous kinds of sentences you can write. There are the short sentences and the long sentences, formal sentences and colloquial sentences, sentences that satisfy expectations and sentences that don't, sentences that go in a straight line and branching sentences, sentences that reassure, and sentences that disturb, quiet sentences, and sentences that explode like a hand grenade, sentences that invite you in, and sentences that exclude you, sentences that caress you, and sentences that assault you, sentences that hide their art, and sentences that ask readers to stand up and applaud. The language's resources are finite, but the effects that can be achieved by deploying them are not, and the skill of writing is to find those formal resources that will produce the effect you desire. Notice that Fish has organized his plethora by offering opposing pairs. It's a nice twist, but not necessary to achieve an overwhelming sequence of examples. The second thing you can do is use statistics or testimony from credible sources to show that the personal is also significantly general. Cecil Harvell, a 39-year-old Morehead City, North Carolina attorney, is a proud owner of a $17,500 Patek Philippe wristwatch, a gift from his wife. The company, fearing its potential customers might think that an unreasonable sum to spend, runs ads that encourage them to think of their purchase as creating a family heirloom. The pitch seems to work. Sales of Patek Philippe and other high-end timepieces costing at least $2,000 rose 13% in 1997 to $1.1 billion, and although the absolute number of people who can afford these watches remains small, their significance is far out of proportion to their number. Except for the growing of Patek Philippe and other similar products in the marketplace, many fewer upper-middle-class buyers would have purchased watches costing $1,000. The more contentious your conclusion is, the more extensively you'll need to use all these moves to solidify your examples-based argument. That's it for this edition. If you found this video informative, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. You can find workbooks to practice your writing skills at Amazon, and my blog through the links that follow. Thanks for listening.